This is FE Peer Review. The date is October the 7th, 2022. Do I exist? I got the idea for this video from a video by Rationality Rules that I just watched, which was very enjoyable. I enjoy his channel very much, and those of you who aren't familiar with him might want to go and check it out. In the video, he's addressing, well, we'll look at a few little snippets from it, and then I'll give you my response.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Destroying Doubts, where we address your questions about Islam.
Why hello my fellow apes, I hope you are well. One Path Network is a Muslim production studio based down under in Sydney, Australia, and in their show titled Destroying Doubts, they seek to
take your doubts and misconceptions about Islam, present them to the Sheikh, and hopefully have them destroyed.
And within the episode that I'm about to respond to, they claim that atheists received the lesson of their lives from a Muslim. Well, after many years of studying theology and philosophy, including Islamic scholars such as Al-Kindi, Al-Ghazali and Averroes, I, an atheist, am eager to heed this lesson. As always, the video I'm responding to is linked below should you wish to view it in its entirety, but here, for everyone's convenience, I'm going to focus on the core.
Where would you start in answering this question, really? That's the important thing to mention. If you think about it, before you answer that question, does God exist? First of all, I have to ask myself, do I exist? Do I exist?
Okay, so if we were to ask the Sheikh how he knows that the chair he is sitting on exists, do you think he would respond by asking us to justify our own existence? Or do you think he'd immediately supply us with empirical evidence? The chair is solid, the legs are fixed, etc. What I'm driving at here is that when religious leaders have good answers, they provide them readily, but when they don't have good answers, they tend to deflect questions by forcing their interlocutor into the notoriously difficult realm of epistemology. This tends to result in the original question being sidestepped, since if one can't 100% prove that they exist, then what business, the reasoning goes, do they have in asking whether or not other things exist?
In brief, the Sheikh deflects from the question, does God exist, to the question, do I exist? And then from there, he goes off on a bunch of tangents, tells a story, recites some poetry, etc., and never actually addresses the question that was asked. Rationality Rules does a great job following him through all of this, pointing out each deflection, each logical fallacy, and by the end of the video, there's basically nothing left of the Sheikh's beautiful but empty speech. You'll find a link for Rationality Rules video in the description. I'll leave it at that and move on now to the main point of our evening. The Sheikh is certainly not providing good answers to the question, do I exist? But there are very few questions that I think are more pointless to ask if people want to make progress in their lives. I have a very absent-minded friend who told me a story. He said he was driving along a very quiet road in a small Vermont town and came to a stop sign. He stopped. Then something in his head sort of clicked off and he just sat there waiting for it to say go, just like you'd wait for a red light to turn green. After a considerable time, he's not sure how long, the local sheriff's deputy pulled up behind him, got out of his car, walked over to his window and said, "You all right, Ron?" Name changed to protect the innocent. At that point, he snapped out of it, full of embarrassment, and explained himself. The deputy was happy with it. He knew Ron, and it was very much in character. He wasn't drunk, and that's what mattered. I feel like spending any more time on the question, do I exist, than spending stopped at a stop sign is time wasted. But then that's just me. I want to get on with things. Bertrand Russell, in his The Problems of Philosophy, Chapter 2, first paragraph, says, "Thus, if we cannot be sure of the independent existence of objects, we shall be left alone in a desert. It may be that the whole outer world is nothing but a dream, and that we alone exist. This is an uncomfortable possibility. But although it cannot be strictly proved to be false, there is not the slightest reason to suppose that it's true." Well, thank you all very much for joining me today. This is FE Peer Review. If you enjoyed this little video, please do click the like button. And most of all, leave a comment. Love to hear what you all have to say about whether you or I exist, or whether it even matters. Have a great day. Bye-bye, folks.